Tonight on Doctor's Diaries.
But you can see this one vertebrae is pretty well shattered and the fragments are going backwards into his spinal cord. That's not too good for this guy.
I'm really responsible for this accident. When I heard the click, I said out loud, "Boy, that clicked easily." And I didn't check it.
I'm a woman, a mother, and a nurse. And all of those things together make you incredibly strong.
Jake. What is a drink, bud? I'm Dr. Zelazny. I'm one of the bone doctors.
It's Dr. Dan Zelazny's first night on call at Westchester Medical Center, and the first time he's covering the ER without supervision.
This is a regional level 1 trauma center. This is a central location for all those car accidents that happen. And, you know, the motorcycle accidents in the summertime are tragedies, disasters, train wrecks, literally. You know, I'm always afraid of, oh my God, I'm on call tonight. What is going to come through the doors tonight? The chairman of my department the other day, you know, I told him my concerns. I'm nervous about the trauma. And he's like, look, just look at it this way. You've been working your whole life for this day. And this is the day. We don't really get any minor stuff here. It's always it's something like a MASH unit. I don't know what Vietnam was like. I'm sure it was a lot worse than this, but this is my own personal Vietnam.
His first trauma case, a motorcyclist who lost control and hit a tree. Right now, all the medical team knows is that he's broken several bones in his legs and can't feel a thing.
From what I've gained so far, he's a 35-year-old or so motorcyclist who was involved in an accident. He was found at the scene. They brought him here. At this time, he's unresponsive. From an orthopedic perspective, he at least has some kind of spine injury, and just by clinical examination and feeling him, he has a broken femur, which is a thigh bone. He has a pretty badly broken ankle on the right side. There are no real x-rays taken yet. Usually in this trauma kind of setting, there's a certain baseline of x-rays that you do get first before you worry about all the other stuff, because the main concern is just to stabilize this patient, just save his life first before dealing with the broken bones. Can you move your fingers for me? Can you feel me touching you? All right. At times it's kind of nerve-wracking, like, you know, oh my God, am I handling this right? Am I missing something? I'm always afraid. I'm always thinking about it, you know, like I mentioned before at home. You know, that patient today, did I do this? Did I do that? Should I have done something? Right. So I think they're going to wheel you over to the CAT scanner now. You just lounge out there for a little bit, all right? It's not necessarily better than I hoped, but it could go either way. There are certain things that could be worse. He doesn't seem to have any open injuries, but the downside is he does have what seems to be some kind of spine injury, because he's not moving his hands and he's not moving his toes and feet. So that's a potential real problem. That's a pretty good suit. Yeah, that's a good suit made of leather. That helps keep rubbing the skin off to a minimum. It definitely didn't hurt him. It definitely helped him. And look, it says it, protective gear, right on there. These motorcycles are death traps. I love motorcycles, but once I started orthopedic residency, I swore I would never get one. It's too many injuries, too many injuries. He may be paralyzed forever, in which case he's definitely not riding again.
Lauren Johnston used to be a nurse at Westchester Medical Center. She now works here as an administrator. 2 weeks ago, her 12-year-old daughter, Carrie, began complaining of headaches and double vision.
She was holding one hand over her eye, and when my husband told her to, you know, put her hand down, "What's the matter with you?" She said, "Well, you know, I don't see double when I do that." So I said, "All right, that's it. Joke's a joke. We're going to the emergency room."
And then we went to the hospital and found out the reasons why. It was because I had a brain tumor in the back of my head. That was just a total surprise. We weren't really expecting anything like that.
I've talked to patients about it, and it's just, there's just no way to ever anticipate exactly what you're going to say and do. And my first thought was, we've got to get it out of there, and now what do we do?
Up with the good, up with the good.
Carrie had emergency surgery to remove the tumor, but that was just the beginning. She wears an eye patch to control her double vision and has difficulty walking. She goes to physical therapy 3 times a week, and once a week sees Dr. Claudio Sandoval, a pediatric oncologist, for chemotherapy.
Hello there, you sweet thing.
Can you believe how good she looks?
Well, of course I can.
So, come and sit.
Come on, honey. Come over here and sit down. I stopped biting a long time ago. And I'm married, so I won't get frisky. Sometimes the kids will have some apprehension. They know they're going to get stuck with a needle. They may have heard stories how chemotherapy causes vomiting. It hurts. It's going to make them very sick. So basically what I try to do is try to allay those fears as much as possible. Talk to the kids, not ignore them. You like Pearl Jam? Oh! You don't like Pearl Jam? Oh, I'm crushed. What about Stone Temple Pilots? Oh! Soundgarden?
A little bit.
Don't tell me you like the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, because I'll vomit right here and then they'll have so much vomit on you. The chemotherapy is used more for disease that may be hiding where we can't see it. So this way we're able to tackle the disease at 2 different points. First, some of the concerns are the effects of the chemotherapy as far as nausea and vomiting, putting her at risk for infections, putting her at risk for kidney and liver failure. The other ones are more cosmetic. She'll be losing her hair.
I think I might wear a hat. I don't want to wear a wig and fake anybody out. I don't care if they make fun of me. Well, I care a little bit, but if they make fun of me because I don't have any hair and because I have cancer, then oh well, I have other people that I can be friends with.
Everything's on the money.
Oh, beautiful. I was hoping we'd be all wrong.
Unfortunately for the motorcycle crash victim, Dr. Zelazny's prognosis appears to be right on target.
C5.
All right.
It's tough to see. Obviously, this is the middle and distal thirds of the femur, maybe even mid.
Okay, here we go.
How'd you do that?
Now coming up.
This is the super kind of wow.
Yeah, it's more like a shaft, actually. It fell lower.
All right, so that's the femur fracture. So maybe I'll put a rod. Now, we didn't get an x-ray of this ankle yet, right?
Yeah,
we did? Okay, good.
But it's actually not the ankle, it's just the tip tip. This
Okay.
doesn't go. Hold on.
And then the other leg is a bimal. That's pretty bad, too.
The pilot.
Yeah. I'll have to get some better x-rays of that, too. Yeah. Let's see his C-spine again. No, this is his real good one, huh?
Crushed.
2, 3, 4, 5. So C5 is shattered.
And also, like the posterior
Yeah,
body's
it's totally
retrocostal
displaced.
canal.
What we're looking at here is basically, these are the vertebrae of the spinal column, and there's the discs in between, but you can see this one vertebrae is pretty well shattered, and the fragments are going backwards into his spinal cord, which could help explain why he's not moving his arms or legs. That's not too good for this guy.
So my clock says 7 o'clock, but it's really only about 6:25. Most people only set their clocks ahead 5-10 minutes. I have to give myself a little more time. So I pretty much get ready in 15 minutes in the morning. That will allow more time for me to sleep. Yep, it's just about time to go. I have been known to leave the house with my slippers on.
On-call is being in the hospital for 24 hours, eating there, sleeping there, being there the whole day. You get up at the crack of dawn like a usual day. You know, your day runs as usual, and instead of being able to go home at 5 or 6 o'clock, you have to stay and manage the patients overnight. If I'd come in earlier, I would have gotten a better spot, but that would mean less sleep. Here we are. You kind of have to get yourself psyched up for it, because you know you won't be sleeping in your own bed. You know you won't be having a very good meal if you get to eat it all.
Forget the beeper.
Dr. Dallas Gilling's first responsibility this morning, rounds with the head of pediatric intensive care, Dr. Carrie Goldsman.
There's no substitute for just giving this kid a good physical exam, because that's where the money is. The money's on the physical exam.
While on rounds, Dr. Gilling examines 2-month-old Nicholas Francesi. His mother brought him in 7 weeks ago because he was having trouble breathing.
Nothing really seemed to make him better. We used lots of treatments. We thought maybe he had a pneumonia, so we treated him for that with antibiotics. We didn't really get any answers.
All right, okay, come. Here you go. Just try to sit. Okay. All right. Okay.
The toughest part, those that are very, very sick and they're not improving despite all of our efforts, despite what we're doing for them, and there's really no improvement. That's hard, and having to tell the parents that we've done all we can do, or we're not really getting anywhere with everything that we're doing, that's frustrating.
All right. Maybe we'll go down to CAT scan and see what's going on. This is the CAT scan machine. They take slices through the head and to some degree the neck. And also they'll do is abdomen and pelvis to make sure that there's no bleeding of any kind or, organ injuries internally. In this case, with that C-spine injury, they may want to go ahead and get an MRI. It gives us another picture of what damage is done.
Jake, can you feel me touch you at the bottom of your foot here?
It's a really bad injury, and we're going to get this one more test as the MRI scan, and that's going to really show us the damage to the spinal cord. He has a little bit of some upper extremity movement on the right side, but it doesn't look too great right now. It doesn't look too great. The first step was to put the Gardner-Wells traction tongs on his head, and then placing those pins into either side of the skull.
What is normally a routine procedure, repairing a broken bone, is now risky. Any wrong move could complicate Jake's spinal injury.
We were able to scan the rest of his spine to make sure there was no obvious fractures. Doesn't mean he doesn't have any injuries in the rest of his spine, but at least this way we can rule out some major ones.
I think this probably was difficult on Dan because of the severity of the injuries and his difficulty in deciding how to treat the injuries.
The spine injury is a bit intimidating. The fact that he's here and able to supervise that really takes a load off my shoulders.
Jake, can you make a muscle over here? Having a tough time talking?
But I think it may actually be more difficult on myself. Having seen a number of similar patients over the past 5 years, I now have more of a sense of how these injuries will ultimately affect the patient's life. Though Dan did a fine job of treating the injuries, unfortunately we can't change the long-term effects as much as I might like right now.
My job for him tonight is done, but I'll see him again just to see how he's doing. He will come back for the cervical spine stabilization, which I'll like to poke my head in on just to see, but I won't really be intimately involved in that. I'm definitely glad it's over. You always get that little bit of jitters, but it's going to take a while for me to get all those jitters out, because every time a patient comes in, it's always a new issue, new injury. You got to get those all under your belt. Probably going to take about 10 years, for me anyway.
My wife called and she said that, she had an accident with the baby, and she said they were airlifting him on a helicopter up here to the medical center, so, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good feeling.
The baby was in one of these newfangled strollers where the infant care seat locks into a car seat, which locks into a stroller. basically, and I guess it didn't lock in perfectly. The seat popped out, and the baby was in the seat, strapped in appropriately, and it rolled over, and the baby incurred a head trauma, which included, I think, a small skull fracture.
The baby may have serious internal head injuries. Until doctors perform a battery of tests, they'll assume the worst.
I just remember the car seat flipped over in front of the carriage, and the baby was underneath it.
Doctors find a small skull fracture. By New York state law, they now have to call Child Protective Services about possible child abuse or neglect.
I just keep seeing that over and over in my head, over and over. The picture of the car seat on top of him on the ground. I don't think I'll ever forgive myself.
12-year-old Carrie Johnston is about to begin one of her weekly chemotherapy treatments with Dr. Sandoval.
When I prepare the chemotherapy, she doesn't look at me. She has a fear of needles, but she's working on that. Your port's a little funny, Carrie. I hope I'm in. Yeah. Your port's a little funny, girl. But I don't think anyone should have any problems accessing it, honey. We'll be finished in 1 second, sweetie pie, okay?
Almost done, Carrie.
We are almost done. If you count from 10 to 1.
Does it hurt?
No, it's just...
The taste. Do you taste the chemo and stuff going through? No? You just don't like this crap in you, right?
You just don't like seeing this stuff?
Okay, we're finished, honey. Okay? Sometimes kids can taste the medications going through. I'm sorry, sweetie pie. 1, 2, 3, okay? Hold this right there. Nice and tight, okay, sweetie pie? I know. Sorry, honey. We're worried not just about the tumor, but the side effects of the therapy and then the long-term side effects of receiving radiation.
Oh, I'm scared.
I know you're scared, but you know what? After what you've already been through, it's a walk in the park, okay? There's no surgery. There's not going to be any pain. It's going to be okay. I promise you it's going to be okay.
Before Carrie's daily radiation treatments can begin, doctors put her through a trial run to pinpoint the exact radiation targets.
Just walk your way into it, and you see where your face was.
Where does the mother think you want to help? Your knees hurt? You want to get up? She wants to get up.
Okay.
It is a difficult procedure. I think the first few days of treatment is the hardest because they don't know what to expect. After a while, they get into the routine, they get used to the cast, they get used to the tricks on how to fit into it. And little by little, they realize that it's really not so bad.
Resting on my hands.
Take his hand back. Take his hand back. That's actually good, Mike. It's good. Shoulders so good? Yep. It's good. Hey.
You're in. Breathing okay? All right.
You did it.
Today, we can actually map out the treatment area for her. It's a pretty extensive field. We'll be treating her brain and her whole spine area. What we do today is what they're going to reproduce every day for treatment.
How are you, baby?
Over here? Right there? How's that? You gonna shake your foot? Are you done? They're very excited about these pictures that they're taking. Apparently you have some beautiful insides. You wanna look at the picture?
pictures when you're done?
Well, her biggest fear throughout the whole process has been pain. She doesn't want to feel pain, which is not unusual for any kid. She's pretty smart. You can't bamboozle her. She's wanted to know from the beginning what's going on, what it's all about. When is it going to hurt? And she just anticipates it's going to hurt whether you tell her it does or not.
I can never imagine what these parents go through. You know, it's got to be the worst thing in the world. I can't even imagine. But it's good that they keep themselves strong because they keep their children strong, and positive attitude is the way to go.
Well, you should have seen me 2 weeks ago. I've had a couple weeks to get used to this now. I'm a woman, a mother, and a nurse. And all of those things together make you incredibly strong.
See, the sun's coming out. Sun's coming out. Won't be able to see it.
During her 24 hours on call, Dr. Gilling cares for more than 30 children. One of them is 3-year-old Justine, who hours ago accidentally swallowed her brother's epilepsy medicine.
Good girl. You gotta stay up. That's good for you. Go ahead. You can yell at me if you want.
The black smudges on Justine's face are from charcoal her doctors gave her to help absorb the toxic medication. The blue plastic tube is helping Justine breathe.
Normal 3-year-old kids are very rambunctious. They get into a lot of things. I'm not saying this is your fault. I'm just saying we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And if I don't give you this kind of advice, then I'm not doing my job. Okay? I don't want this to happen again. I want you to be able to treat your son that has the epilepsy, and I want this baby not to have any problems in the future. Okay? So anything else on her? Her lights are okay, her urine output's okay, yep. Her LFTs are okay. Yep. Dallas is a very bright, articulate young woman. I think that she will develop into a truly excellent pediatrician. Dallas has developed a wonderful sense of humor, and it makes working together with her a lot easier.
It's never what you expect. It's not an easy thing to say to a family member or a patient for that matter when someone has such a grave and serious injury as he does. Should be in here. I'm Dr. Zelazny. I'm one of the bone doctors. He's on a motorcycle, and I don't know exactly what happened, but lost control and hit a tree, apparently. He was pretty badly injured. He has some significant orthopedic injuries. One of them is he has a broken leg here. He also has both ankles are broken. And those things can be fixed with a regular surgery. However, he does have a very serious neck injury. He has a broken vertebrae in his neck, which caused a lot of damage to his spinal cord. And right now he's not moving his legs or his arms. And he doesn't feel anything, obviously. It's not very likely that he's going to get a lot of function back.
Oh, what about hands?
He has a little bit of motion in his arm muscles here, but it's really unlikely that he's going to get a lot more. Unlikely. That was the first time I actually had to bear the brunt of telling some bad news to the patient or the family. And I don't know, as well as these things can go, I guess it went pretty well.
Do you think it's the kind of thing that will get easier the more you do it, or do you
I don't think so. I don't think it ever gets easier. You hang in there, okay?
Okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye, sir. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye. This last part was probably the hardest part of the whole thing. You know, seeing the patient in the ER is one thing, and that I got that down pretty well with, you know, being here for so many years as a resident, and you can do that by rote. And then even in the operating room, you kind of have an idea of mechanically what needs to be done and how to do it. But then when it comes down to the human interaction and the emotional aspect of what you're trying to tell people, you know, that was really the hardest part of the whole evening so far.
Nicholas Chiarella's parents still don't know the extent of his head injuries. He fell out of his stroller while his mother was shopping. It's a moment she'll never forget.
When I heard the click, I said out loud, "Boy, that clicked easily." And I didn't check it. I knew I should have known.
Your mind just races at that point. I mean, yeah, I was with my 7-year-old, so it's hard to start rushing around and explain to him why you're rushing around and that something happened to his brother. I don't know, you just kind of deal with it and, you know, hope for the best, I guess.
He'll eat. He'll eat. He'll do fine. But we just need to keep this little tube down there putting in. That'll keep his stomach contents empty, just in case he would like it. You and I would find it uncomfortable because we're big babies, but the babies don't find it uncomfortable. They're real men about this, okay? And he'll deal with it without any problem. Ultimately, though, we'll be able to keep his stomach empty for a little while. He's getting the IV fluids. But it's good that he's screaming. That's good.
While Dr. Goldsman tries to rule out any medical complications, by law, there's something else he has to worry about.
Child Protective Services was already called about this case. They're investigating the case because anytime we have a baby that presents to us in this fashion, we need to consider the diagnosis of suspected abuse, be it accidental or intentional. Child abuse runs rampant in this country. It crosses all socioeconomic and ethnic and religious lines. You can be a college graduate and a professional and beat the crap out of your kid. You can also be a crack abuser and beat the crap out of your kid.
Whether or not it was an accident is something Child Protective Services will investigate.
I don't even know what they're going to ask. It'll probably be no big deal, but it's just a little nerve-wracking. I guess it's my own guilt because I feel like, you know, I'm really responsible for this accident, and I hope that it doesn't get proven negligent. You know, I feel guilty, and I should have checked it, but I'm going to talk to my oldest son today. My oldest son doesn't understand any of that. He's only 7.
You're under a microscope on how you treat your children, but it's good. You know, I guess they could weed out all the, you know, neglect that occurs.
But the formal interview about what happened goes better than they expected.
It was actually pretty good. She's very understanding, and I guess I was a little bit more nervous than I needed to be. She's doing her job, and we're going to help her do her job so we can get it over and done with and closed. I got a little emotional and started to cry downstairs because it's hard enough that I feel guilty about it. For other people to point fingers at me is rough. The case isn't closed, but I'll be glad when it is. I'm not worried about it anymore.
That's a smile. That's
you can't tell me you don't. That's not gas. You see mommy.
That's a definite smile.
You see your mommy.
Yeah, it is the pad.
Pad in the cast.
It's 2:30 in the afternoon, and Carrie Johnston is getting her first radiation treatment.
That's all right, we got you. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, put your hands up.
Carrie will come here for the next month and a half to receive more than 30 radiation treatments.
Good. Excellent. Wow. Okay, great. Here we go. She's getting her radiation right now. Or a slight buzzing noise in the room, but other than that, she doesn't feel anything. Doesn't sense anything.
I was a little nervous. I didn't know what was going to happen. It was the first one, but it's okay.
use the pillow as a support. Don't go anywhere yet. We need to treat her brain, and also we need to treat her entire body. So the radiation therapy is used to treat her brain and her spinal cord, which is just an extension of her brain.
Not even bad. All that cushion he put in there, you have no marks on you, nothing. Okay?
She comes into the radiation oncology department daily, and she gets her radiation therapy that lasts for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then she goes home. On Wednesdays, she goes to radiation therapy and then comes to see me in the afternoon. And we sit and talk for about 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then she goes home.
You did great. We'll see you tomorrow.
One down, 30 to go.
Okay.
For more information, log on to our website. It's almost 6 p.m. While most people are heading home for the day, Dr. Dallas Gilling is less than halfway through her 24 hours on call at Westchester Medical Center.
14 more hours before I'm free. Not that I'm counting.
Part of the evening, she treats high-risk patients in the pediatric intensive care unit.
The kids are a lot sicker than they are on the general pediatrics floor. There are intubated patients there. There are, like I said, very sick patients, and you don't really get too much rest there. You know, they're very, very sick kids. I've walked this hallway at least 10 times already today, at least. But usually about this time, you don't walk very fast. Not too much energy left. You get used to it, especially if there's a lot going on. You just kind of stay up. You get used to it though, but you know, as soon as I go home, you just crash. Madeline. The whole time, all afternoon, she was quiet. Not a peep. Even when we drew blood on her, she didn't cry. Madeline.
So does it upset you when the children cry like that?
Yeah. Because she can't tell you what's wrong, and you know something's wrong, and you can't figure it out.
Ursula and Richard Vasicek just got married, and they're on a honeymoon that took a wrong turn.
We got a honeymoon couple in the Pyramid. Yeah. No, I'm not kidding you.
Somewhere in the middle of the night, my wife woke me up and said she was a little bit sick and she felt a headache. I thought, well, I didn't care too much actually.
It's the middle of the night. I understand. Go ahead.
I wanted to sleep and ask her, well, if it gets worse, tell me.
Her headache did get worse, and when Ursula passed out, she and her husband were rushed to the emergency room. They arrived by ambulance in their pajamas.
You go on that side and turn. Yeah.
They were in a hotel where apparently there was some kind of combustion problem. They were exposed to carbon monoxide, so we decided that they both needed hyperbaric treatment in order to reduce their carbon monoxide exposure. So they get down here and she goes, you know, can I go in with him? And we're like, sure, he doesn't mind, but you know, got to keep it clean. You're in the big glass tube.
Do you have any sports channels?
No.
ESPN?
No, we don't have any of the. We don't have even any of the non-cable channels.
Set?
Set. The electrode on. We got that. Did we give them water again? Or no?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Great. Okay. Now I know you guys took it tight. And locked. Okay. You got to hold everything. That's good. All right.
Steak sauces have to be a little bit
Off
sweet.
we go.
They have to be a little bit of maple syrup, a little salt.
You had a young couple choosing to come to America on their honeymoon. They're obviously nice kids. They're just innocents that were involved in what was indeed an accident. carbon monoxide poisoning is a silent killer. It has no smell. People are not aware they're getting sick.
They're receiving 100% oxygenation under pressure. The pressurization on your body gathers that carbon monoxide back out of the tissues and helps you dissolve it, helps you remove it from your blood system.
What about the pressure? How did the pressure feel?
It's a bit strange when you feel the humid air, the humid oxygen flowing in, but as soon as you got used to the clicking noise in your ears, it's not that strange anymore.
All right. Hi, how are you? How's Nicholas? He looks very peaceful and happy. I should have slept like that last night. Okay.
Even though baby Nicholas was thrown from his stroller, tests show nothing more serious than a few minor bumps on his head.
CAT scan showed no increase in the bleed. He's scheduled for a skeletal survey today, and he's taking full PO and can probably go to the floor.
No retinal hemorrhages,
No
right?
retinal hemorrhages. Thank you.
Very good. It's been our pleasure. He's a beautiful, beautiful baby.
I'd like to get him home and feel like it's back to normal, you know, but it's a really good feeling, you know. There's really no way to describe it.
Nick, you ready to go home, honey?
2 days after the accident, doctors and Child Protective Services say Nicholas can go home.
Let me sleep.
Nice this bed.
Yeah, he does. You ready, Nick? Thank you. It feels good, but I have to tell you, I'm very, very nervous, paranoid. I don't ever want to mess up again. Come on, Nikki, we're going home, babe. We're on our way out, honey.
For more information, log on to our website.
How you doing? You're okay? Good. You keep the mask on. Yeah, keep the mask on. You're doing a great job.
Hours ago, paramedics rushed Ursula and Richard Vasicek to the emergency room after their hotel room filled with carbon monoxide.
They sent the young man down as well as his wife. Now, interestingly, the wife was the one who was diagnosed with having the high level of carbon monoxide poisoning, but when we looked a little closer, the young man, while he wasn't complaining, also had a very high level of carbon monoxide. This young man would have sustained permanent poisoning from the carbon monoxide that changed his life forever. Memory loss, personality changes, inability to do numbers, and other signs of cerebral dysfunction. And you're having no trouble with your vision or your hearing?
No.
All right. I'll tell you what I would like to do. Because your carbon monoxide level was so high, what I think a plan would be for you to go back to the emergency room. We give you one more treatment. Call your hotel and ask them to send a car down for you.
What do you mean, one more treatment? Oh, in the
hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah, one more hyperbaric treatment.
So that we're sure that we have gotten rid of all of the carbon monoxide.
Is this romantic?
Maybe it should be a little darker.
We're depressurizing, but it's about another 5-10 minutes till we get the door open, okay?
The oxygen chamber was not, was a funny thing. It was not bad.
What's the best thing we had today?
Yeah, probably was the best experience, the most positive experience.
Right.
You especially watch your back. Just keep each other's backs.
Say goodbye.
You okay standing?
I'm okay. We're feeling like 2 days ago.
Doctors give Richard and Ursula a clean bill of health. They're off to continue their honeymoon, still wearing the scrubs the hospital gave them. Dr. Gilling has been working 18 hours straight.
The difference between our lives and everybody else's is that normal people are usually in bed at this hour. It's 1:30. I'm not entitled. I don't have to make sense at this hour. I'm going to take a nap after I finish writing this note. I've checked everybody's labs. I've checked up on everybody. Everybody's doing well. I'm going to get a couple hours of sleep. That's my luxury accommodation. These guys are sleeping in my bed.
If she's lucky, she may steal a few hours' sleep, if nobody pages her.
If you sleep, it's never a good night's sleep. It's never a full 6-8 hours sleep. 2 hours is good. 2 hours is a good night.
It's the next morning, and before Dr. Gilling gets to go home, once again, it's time for rounds.
Okay? You have to bring it down real slow. That's why I don't like when they bolus with insulin. You do not want to drop these sugars acute, okay? And I'll show you why.
So off we go. Hi, can I have a sausage biscuit, please? I'll probably sleep for maybe 3 or 4 hours. I don't want to sleep the whole day away. I want to do more than just work, sleep, work, sleep. I'm so glad my shoes are comfortable, or my feet would really be hurting right now. So I sleep for a few hours, get up, try to live the life of a normal human being.
Stick out your tongue. Stick out your tongue. Good girl. Good. Listen, you gotta open up that mouth, girl. Thus far, I'm seeing Kerry on a weekly basis, and she comes in on Wednesdays. And right now, she's getting kind of gentle chemotherapy, and it's just an injection of vincristine. We will start the more potent chemotherapy. And then she's going to have a 6 to 8 week respite.
You're just going to go right in the car. I thought you were going to give me a hand. Oh, you guess not? All right, well, just step away. So this weekend is their annual softball picnic. This was her goal from almost from the moment she got sick, that she wanted to make sure she was going to be able to get to the picnic. This is very important to her. So how nervous are you getting, Kerry?
Kerry will see her friends again for the first time since her surgery. She's worried about how they'll react.
There's probably people who think you're bald. So that'll be the first surprise. They're going to be looking at you going, where'd she have surgery? It's alive! Carrie's back!
Since they haven't seen me, they don't know that I'm kind of wobbly when I walk and can't see very well. So I'm afraid that I'm going to get stared at and stuff and made fun of.
We just got to dive in. Ready? We're going to do this. So far, so good?
So far.
So far?
There's still got to be a lot more people.
Is there? Oh, yes, you do. Is there anybody you want me to say, get away from here? Carrie doesn't want to see you.
No.
Oh, there they are. You want to see them?
At the wall!
What? I don't want to be here. I want to go home.
No, we're not going home. This is your goal. You're here. Let everybody see you, and you see everybody. But if you're going to sit here and be a mope, they're not going to know what to say to you. Okay?
I just want to go home.
Here, watch. Now you can see her, right? That's the rule. If you're approaching her on one side or the other, if the patch is there, just move the patch, and then she can see you. Right?
Carrie Johnson.
Okay, that's from everybody. This is from your teammate. Now you get to look at our ugly faces all the time.
She's always been our worrier, and she'd be the first one to tell you that. She doesn't live in the moment. She's always worried about what's going to happen. tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. So what I've told her about this is the hardest thing she's ever going to have to do, and if she gets through this, she can do anything.
And I was in hospital for so long because I thought I wasn't going to make it. But I did, and I'm here, and I'm doing everything that should be done.